Okay. Um, Despite the situation we're in, I'm gonna share a story about forgiveness. Okay. This is see, all my stories are they're all true. They're all not making up stuff. But this is a delicate story for me. But I'm in a place right now where I'm at because of this story. Okay. So it goes into my past. All right. So, by the way, just to reintroduce myself, my name is Anthony, and I'm about 46 years old, telling you some stories about, um, you know, my past and how and I hope you gain something from it. Okay, that's the whole point, that you gain something from it, even during these times. Maybe it'll help you to, um, do things in your life, or just I need to share my stories. That's basically it. You'll get it as we go along. Okay. All right. So the year was what year was it? 20. Oh gosh, now I'm losing it right now. It's like 2013, 2012, 2012, June 2012. Okay. And I was I was going through a divorce. Divorce is a little bit prolonged because my ex and I, we procrastinated. And the situation was, we're married for about 10 years. And about early 2010, we separated. Okay. And I'm keeping names out of it. Okay. So I'm just, I'll give like a generic name, stuff like that. I don't, it's people's privacy, right? So there I was, you know, I was pretty distraught with the whole divorce, right? As anybody should be. And from the get go, when we were gonna get separated, I knew, like, when my ex looked at me in the eye and she told me, you know what, like, we're done. I knew we were done. Like, everybody knows, right? There's a big difference when somebody tells you you're done, and then when they say, okay, well, maybe there's a chance. There was no chance. Um, there was no like time for us to reconcile, or all that stuff. It just wasn't gonna happen. Okay, you could tell. We didn't go to therapy. We it was her choice, but I, she was talking to somebody, seeing somebody, however you want to call it. And it was right away. So it wasn't like there was like this time gap, right? It was, she told me that we were done, and then there was somebody right away, and I was like, oh, okay. So I did one and one, and just kind of knew it. Just, she was done. I could see it in her eyes. So then I gathered a lot of hateful feelings towards this individual, this person. We'll call him Duncan. Okay. And Duncan, I hated him because I saw him as the person that was in the way of us even trying to work things out. This is a marriage, and I saw him in the way, and I got a lot of really bad feelings about this individual. There was a lot of drama. There was, almost physical confrontation, like once or twice. A lot of bad talking. He would bad talk me in front of my children. I would bad talk him in front of my children. It was not a good situation. Okay. It was a volatile situation. And so 2 years later, 2012, um, June 2012. Everything was coming to a head. You see, I was also a non-believer during that time. I stopped following Yahweh, and because I took a break from religion, right? But I've always been a spiritual person in terms of, loving our Creator. I've always been one. But I was just burned out from a whole episode at a particular church I was in. And, you know, something was tugging at my heart at that time. Something was tugging at my heart. A particular person was pushing me to go back to Yahweh, at that time, God, right? And this particular person, you know, helped me to get back my faith. And then it came the time to, like, where the rubber meets the road, right? So I wanted to go back to Father, I wanted to go back to him. I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. So I believe it was like June 26th. I want to say it was that day, June 20. It was before 4th of July, that's for sure. It was before 4th of July, and it was like, June 26th, around there, in between there, the 2012. I will tell you now that this was probably one of the, first of all, I'm very confrontational. Like, I like to see people's reaction. I'm not going to be like saying important stuff over the phone. I want to see their faces. I want to see their reactions. I want them to see my reactions, and we go from there. Okay. So I got a download, and before I go into this, a download is like, what I mean by download is, I get something inside. Okay, I don't hear voices in my head. I don't hear God talking to me. Some people do it great. That's good for you. But I get downloads like a computer. A computer doesn't know where it gets a download from. They just get it. Whether you put a USB in or something, it just gets a download. And I got a download, and the download was seek forgiveness. Immediately, I started arguing with it because I knew who it was about. It was about Duncan. And seeking forgiveness for what? Right? Like, this guy literally came in and was part of the issue and the reason why I am no longer married. Right? What do I need to seek forgiveness for? That was me just being stubborn because I knew what really I needed to seek forgiveness for. And what I needed to seek forgiveness for was murderous thoughts. Because I had them. I'm being very honest. I had really bad thoughts about Duncan. I wanted to do bad things. I had literally planned things to do. It hurts me to even think about that person even existed in my mind. But it's true. I was so hurt by this situation that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take care of him, and I'll make sure he doesn't live, and my daughters will live with her the rest of their lives, and this and that. But common sense ruled the day, right? Thankfully, we all go through some crazy thoughts in our heads sometimes, and I obviously did not go through with it. I said, no, what the heck are you thinking? You're going to leave your little girls to be raised by some other man? If it's not Duncan, it's going to be somebody else. And I thought about that. I'm like, what, you're going to be a life in jail? Like, that's the, you want to go from being, I'm a teacher, by the way. You want to go from being a teacher, a well-respected teacher, to being somebody who's in jail? How does that even make sense? So I obviously gave that idea up, right? I gave that idea up. I decided not to do these plans, these really bad plans. And when it was time to come back to Yahweh, that was the stone in between me. He was like, "You're not coming back to me, sir. You're not coming back to me until you ask for forgiveness." So I said, "Okay. Okay, Father." So for 5 days straight, I went to the house of my ex where she lived with Duncan. And every morning I went to go seek forgiveness. I remember. Monday I went, he wasn't there. Tuesday I went, he wasn't there. Wednesday, not there. And so on and so forth until Friday came. And and during those days, by the way, I was picking up my daughter, spending time with them, this and that, hanging out with them, love spending time with my daughters. And on the 5th day, he was there. And by then I was so eager. I had all this pent up, energy and emotion, and I just wanted to make things right with Yahweh. I wanted to make things right with them, with the Creator. And Duncan came out. I said, "Duncan, can I have a word with you?" And he said, "Sure." And he was a little bit hesitant because this guy want to do something to me, And I said, told my daughters, "Come here, both of you. You need to see this." And they came. They were right there. And I said, "Duncan, I want to apologize to you. The bad things I've said about you in front of my children, to you, and also for the intense, terrible thoughts I've had about you. I want to ask for your forgiveness." Duncan looked at me. He's a pretty prideful guy, by the way. And he took out his hand and he says, "Thank you, I accept." And we shook hands. Now, we weren't best friends afterwards, by the way. It was still some little bit of strife afterwards, but the majority of the strife was over. And I'm telling you that I went back to my car with my girls, and I felt a huge weight off of me. Such a huge weight I felt off of me that I was able to forgive this guy for what he did to my family. Basically, that's what we're talking about, right? And yeah, it's I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that episode of forgiveness, and I have to tell you, Duncan never apologized to me for what he did, but I didn't expect it. Okay? I knew he wasn't going to, and I was okay with that. So when you go into a situation asking for forgiveness, I want to tell you this. Don't expect people to ask for forgiveness back. Okay? Your narrative should be, "I'm going to seek forgiveness on my part." If that's what they want, so be it. But if they're not seeking that, they're not in that place yet. You see, we all have our stories, right? My story was getting released from that situation right there. That was my story. His story, well, guess what? He can tell his own story. But I know for me, man, that was, I know a couple of days after was July 4th, and I went out with my girls on July 4th, went for a hike at the edge of a hill, and I just put my hand, I started, praying, and it was so awesome, And really, that was the return. It was a return to my, faith, at that time Christian. But it would not have happened, guys. It would not have, if I was prideful. I would not be in this spiritual journey that I'm in if I did not go through that. Okay? And so, we're coming up on 15 minutes. I'm going to end it soon, but I want to encourage you. If you need to seek forgiveness, do it before it's too late. Okay? Don't wait. It's not worth it, man. It's not. I think there's even studies out there that, people who forgive, or who seek forgiveness, they're like less stress and all this stuff. There's like a lot of good things to having a forgiving heart. And if you know you don't have that pattern in your life, a forgiving heart, well, get it. Go get it. Okay? You're still alive. Go after it. Seek forgiveness. It's there. And it will be therapeutic for you. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for episode 2, forgiveness. I hope you enjoyed it. And, things are crazy out there, right? If you have somebody in your house that you need to seek forgiveness from, do it. Do it today. Be bold. Be brave.